Oh man, I've got a ton more limited fragrances by Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements, only available in December. And also stay to the end because I have a special fragrance at the end that you definitely want to try. Stay to the end. Hey Fragrance family, I'm Daver and I'm a Fragrance Bro, of course your best source for everything fragrance related. Now a while back I started making a series of videos on Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements talking about their limited releases. I love Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. I love a lot of the stuff they're doing. They're one company out there in the fragrance space that truly excites me. There's not many companies out there doing things that excite me, but this is one company that really does. Now, I don't love everything they make, but they make so many different things and so many cool things that they have a lot of limited releases that they release only for certain months. Now the fall fragrances are probably long gone, but they have some specifically for December. Now I coordinated with them about these fragrances, so I think I have most, if not all, the fragrances that are available this month. And I think some for next month as well. I still might be missing some, I'm not exactly sure, but definitely check out the links down below. They're an amazing company. They sell samples of everything, so if they have anything, you can definitely get samples of that. Another thing I really love about them is that they have their scents in any of their kind of daily products. Their soaps, shampoos, deodorants, shave soaps, etc. All those I think are some of the best in class I've ever tried, so you got to try those out too. But you can get a scent in any of those, which I think is super cool. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and get straight to the review. First, we're going to be starting with Ray Rum, also known as the Shaving or Butter Rum. It has a couple different names here. It's a little bit of an honorable mention just because it's not available right now. It's only available in Black Friday, so you're not going to be able to get it right now, but this is so good and it is a limited release and it is around the season that I just have to talk about it. Now, the Shaving is a butter bay rum scent. It has the bay rum DNA or flavor to it, but it adds kind of a buttery, butterscotch flavor on top of it. Some of the notes in this are buttery vanilla, whipped cream, toffee, nutmeg, coconut, West Indian bay, and benzoin. Now to me, what I get really right off the bat is that it reminds me of the butter rum Lifesavers. Now, I'm kind of revealing my age here a little bit, if my gray didn't already. When I was younger, the Lifesavers books used to have different Lifesavers in there that were actually good. They would have the tropical ones, they would have the wild berry, they would have the wild cherry, and then they would have the butter rum. Butter rum was one of my favorites. There's almost no other candy that tastes like it, sadly, and you can't really find it in Lifesavers anymore, and that's a shame. They don't have it in the Christmas books anymore, and that's a double shame. But Ray Rum, the Shaving, smells like that. It's amazing. If you like gourmands, if you like butter rum Lifesavers, if you like bay rum, you've got to check this out. It's amazing. All right, next is Caridi Mati. Now, Caridi Mati I've already covered in my bay rum video. You can go and check it out up here. I got to mention it here too because it's always released in the December month. Now, this one is really cool because it has a bay leaf that's actually in there, which is pretty neat. It's a flanker of bay rum. It has that kind of bay rum flavor, but it has myrrh in there as well to kind of bring out that kind of Christmassy vibe. Now, I actually don't have a bottle of this on hand, so my memory of this is a little fuzzy. I actually gave this bottle away in a giveaway that I held on the channel, but if memory serves, I remember it being amazing. Like the myrrh really adds a lot to Caridi Mati. I love myrrh already, and I really like bay rum, and mixing them together really works. Notes in this are frankincense, myrrh, bay, seaweed, oakwood, ambergris, tobacco, benzoin, blue spruce, lavender, and labdanum. This also happens to be aged for a whole year, and this is just a magnificent scent. It's really Christmassy. If you like bay rum and you want a more Christmassy version, this is that. It's great. Next is Space Nog, and this is another flanker of bay rum, and this is the last bay rum that I'll mention in the video. But this one has, from the name, eggnog. It smells like eggnog. Eggnog and bay rum. You wouldn't necessarily think that they mix together, but they work so well. I personally love eggnog, and if you don't, you're just weird. Eggnog is amazing. This is one of my personal favorites in the bay rum line. I think it's so good. Notes in this are brown sugar, vanilla, nutmeg, cinnamon, West Indian bay, tonka, benzoin, and spiced rum. It is so delicious and yummy. If you like eggnog, then you've got to get this. If you like gourmands, you have got to get this. I don't think the bay rum is super strong in this. You can smell it there, but it's not overwhelming. It just kind of adds to the kind of gourmand eggnog scent that this has. It's wonderful. It is so good. Wow.
Hallelujah!
Next is Magi. Now, as the name suggests, this is an homage to the wise men of the Bible story. And to me, this is just special. This is really special. This is aged a whole year. It has myrrh and it has frankincense. The only thing it doesn't have is gold. And that's the one criticism that I have about this. I wish there were the kind of gold leaf flakes that you find in like Goldschlager or in some of the fragrances that have gold flakes in there. You can put that in here and it wouldn't change the aroma at all. Just look cool. I wish that had this in here. But as it stands, this is a truly magnificent scent. If this is out at all, you have got to try this. To me, this is a fragrance I always wear on a Christmas Eve service at church. It's thick and dense. It's got a very definite frankincense and myrrh vibe in here. You get that sense of an old antique furniture or dusty church, that type of thing. I love that. And the myrrh adds a little bit of low end and sweetness and resinous quality. It's beautiful. Another cool thing about this is you can get this with the kind of puff atomizer if you want, which I think is cool. Some of the notes in this are obviously frankincense and myrrh, tobacco, thyme, coumarin, chamomile, rose, lavender, and benzoin. This really is a magical scent, and it really is befitting of a king. I love this scent, and it is just a scent that I always want to keep in my collection. It is utterly fantastic. Definitely check this one out. All right, next is Cosmic Christmas Cookie, and I bet you'll never guess what this one smells like. Obviously, this is a Christmas cookie type of scent, and it's wild how close it smells to Christmas cookies. Now, of course, I love gourmands, but one of the things that I hate about kind of mainstream gourmand scents is they don't really kind of press the boundaries of gourmands. Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements, though, they like to dig in, and when they do gourmands, they make gourmands, and this is so good. If you like cookies, if you like Christmas cookies, if you like that kind of sugar cookie, fresh out of the oven type of smell, this has that. Notes in this are burnt sugar, caramel, buttermilk, and vanilla. It's obviously sweet, has a kind of burnt sugar or toasted cookie type of scent to it. Sometimes scents like this go into the kind of candle territory, but this one doesn't. And I really like that about this. It still remains kind of true to the cookie thing, but doesn't get in the kind of artificial sweetener thing. It still has a very lifelike cookie smell, and it almost has a kind of pecan sandies type of smell. If you've ever made pecan sandies or if you've eaten those maybe from the store or something, it has almost that kind of granular type of smell to it, which I like. So if you think the idea of smelling like cookies sounds delicious, check this one out. All right, next is Lump of Coal. Now, obviously, this is kind of a Christmas-themed joke, but what I really like about it is you can buy them the joke. If you want to give them a lump of coal, you can do that, but it still smells great. Despite the name, it doesn't smell bad. Like you might think that lump of coal would smell bad as a gag gift, but it actually smells really good. It's a really nice green, minty, fougere type of smell that nods to the kind of classic old-school masculine aftershaves, but doesn't necessarily smell old. It still has a kind of modern vibe to it. It smells maybe like something Acqua di Parma would make in their Colognes line or something like that. It's minty, very green, almost mossy and grassy, and a touch camphorous as well. I really like this, and if you know someone on the naughty list, or maybe you're on the naughty list, you might want to have this in your stocking. All right, next is Champagne. Now this is one that I wasn't familiar with, and I think this one is more in line with New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, that type of thing. I couldn't find the notes for this one in particular, but it definitely leans into that kind of champagne-like smell. If you've smelled fragrances that have a champagne note in there, you'll know what I mean. Sometimes when fragrances put a champagne-like note in their scent, it comes across as cheap, but not this one in this case. I think this does have a kind of similarity to champagne, maybe not exact, but still in that kind of ballpark. You immediately pick up on what it's trying to be, at least. I think they did a great job at adding some kind of much-needed complexity to this type of champagne scent. Sometimes that is kind of one note. This one kind of moves around on your skin, and I like that a lot. You get the kind of white grape smell that champagne has, and then it moves into that kind of sweet benzoin and staticky, musky type of thing. It's very interesting and worth trying, I think. All right, next is First Night on Planet Earth. This one is obviously another New Year's Eve or New Year's Day scent. Now, there's a lot of notes in this, so forgive me as I look down at my notebook here. Notes are raspberry, pine, lavender, basil, bergamot, cedrat, carnation, leather, sandalwood, patchouli, geranium, leather, tonka, amber, benzoin, oak moss, and vanilla. That's a ton going on. On the bottle, there's artwork from different bottles in the line, so it kind of almost makes me think that this might be fragrances that are kind of mixed together, or maybe there's certain accords from these fragrances that are kind of put together almost like as a crowd. But whatever they did really works, and I like it. I get a hint of raspberry, the leather, the basil, the lavender, and vanilla. It has that kind of hint and nod to kind of old school scents, but is still very good and very modern as well, with a little twist on it. I think this is really good, really wearable. I like it a lot. So definitely check out First Night. Next is Vector. Now this one is very strong, and reading the front of the bottle, it kind of tells you all you need to know. It says camphorous, eucalyptus, and mint. These type of scents veer very close to going into the dentist or even hospital vibe. And I really get that kind of dentist vibe for me. I get toothpaste, Vicks Vapor Rub, mouthwash, or cough drop. I get all those things in this. And that isn't necessarily bad. I do like those scents and those things, but they're too familiar. This is kind of a pass for me, unless you really like that kind of scent. It's done well, but it's just not my favorite. All right, last but not least is Thought Forms, and I saved the best for last. Now, a while back, I was talking to the owner of Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. I gave him this idea of a fragrance that was inspired by the kind of smell from heat, from like hot rocks. I knew that he lived in the Arizona area, and I've always been fascinated with that type of smell. If you go out somewhere in the summertime and there's a lot of dirt and rocks, there's a certain smell that pops up that I like. That was pretty much all I said. And then a few months later, he comes up and said, oh, the scent is done. And this is really great. It's not exactly what I was expecting, but I'm actually thrilled that it's not. And I'm also glad that I wasn't super involved in the scent process, just in the idea. I think that it turned out better than I could have imagined. It doesn't necessarily have the scent that I was thinking of at first. It doesn't have that kind of hot rock in the desert type of smell. But what I think it does have is it does have that kind of heat smell in here, the kind of hot air mixed with some other things that I think is really good. It alludes to kind of old school barbershop scents, but this is super modern, I think. Notes are citrus, basil, menthol, floral notes, rose, spice, green amber, cedar, patchouli, and woods. And I know some of those are kind of vague. To me, what I get is a very ozonic type of scent right off the bat. And that's what really reminds me of the heat. Ozone, citrus, and then it goes into that kind of barbershop theme. And I get the kind of powdery vibe right away, like a barbershop talc type of smell with a little bit of rose and patchouli. Very clean, very put together, soapy, sharp, citrusy, and airy. And I'm not exactly sure when this will be available or for how long. It will probably be a limited scent, I'm assuming, just because it's so new and different, but definitely check it out. I think this is one of his best. I love it. This reminds me of what Portrait of a Lady would be, but for a man. I know there's a lot of guys out there who like Portrait of a Lady, but to me, it always just had that kind of feminine type of smell. This is a lot more masculine, even more modern, and even more wearable than that. And I think fuller smelling as well. I love this scent, and this is just a scent that you have got to try. 100% you've got to try Thought Forms. So it's Portrait of a Man. So that's all I have. What do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you tried any of these in the past Christmases? If you're a fan of PAA, let me know down in the comments down below. If you haven't, definitely check out the links down below. Of course, there are samples available, so definitely check out the samples if you want to try anything, or obviously try their other grooming products as well. Best in class. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'll see you next time. I'm Dave with the Fragrance Bros. Bye.